Sure, you've seen a lot of weird movies, but I'm sure you've never seen a movie in which a recliner comes to life, stalks a girl, and kills a bunch of people on the way. That's why today on The Summarizer, Killer's Sofa. The story begins by showing us a guy named Frederico doing a ritual with blood and a picture of a woman, and minutes later this person is cut into pieces. And although this is the first kill of the movie, it's not a normal death because some blood falls on a recliner, and that's why his soul is transferred to the sofa to create the Killer's Sofa. And now we meet the protagonist of this film, which happens to be the woman in the photos at the beginning named Francesca. Then appears these two called Inspector Bob and his partner Inspector Roseanne to ask some questions to our protagonist about the death of Frederico. Oh, and also here appears Maxie, who's Francesca's best friend and who also knew the guy, because apparently this man was obsessed with Francesca to the point that she had a restraining order against him about 2 years ago, and therefore her friend didn't like him very much and says he's one of those people she would like to punch in the face.
Punching someone in the face is one thing, cutting them into pieces is another.
What?
Oh yes, because the movie is bad, but not as bad as the acting of these two detectives. Anyway, this doesn't matter much. What matters is that they tell her that they found her neighbor cut to pieces, but Francesca doesn't know anything, so the talk ends there, because on top of that, she's having some furniture delivered.
Really? What kind of furniture?
A recliner.
And on top of that, weird things start to happen because a couple of secondary characters are trying to carry the recliner when suddenly one of the girls hurts her hand. And although it doesn't make any kind of sense, this guy's already starting to suspect the sofa. Before continuing with the video, a couple of days ago we reached 10,000 subscribers on The Summarizer, and to celebrate we created another movie recap channel called Planet Recap, where we'll upload recaps of science fiction movies with super interesting plots. So if you like these kind of videos, please go subscribe to that channel, the link is in the pinned comment. Now let's continue with the kill count. At one point they're gonna take the armchair to Francesca's home, but apparently the address is wrong and this old guy looks at the sofa with a weird face too. And then he sort of gets visions when he touches the couch where he sees a woman running from a man. Later, Francesca arrives home where she lives with her weirdo boyfriend named TJ, who doesn't do anything all day. The point is that they rearrange the couch and her boyfriend goes off to a bachelor party or something. To all this, Jack was half traumatized by what he saw and says it was a Dybbuk, and apparently he has a gift like his father. Back at Francesca's house, she's finishing her bath when she starts hearing strange noises, but it's just Maxie trying to prank her. The two friends stay watching a movie until she leaves and tells her not to think about Frederico. But strange things start to happen because when Maxie leaves, the sofa looks at her through the window, and when she turns around, it's gone. Oh, and you remember that the movie was getting weird? Well, now there's like a sex scene between the recliner and Francesca. Yes, between a sofa and a woman.
What?
After that, we understand from a YouTuber looking like a Ponzi scheme scammer that the Dybbuk is a powerful spirit that feeds on the living. And if you have touched a Dybbuk, you have established a connection and you may soon experience strange health problems, which means that basically the old man is fucked. The next day she wakes up because she hears some noises, and get ready for this because it's great. The recliner filled the whole house with candles and even made Francesca breakfast. Anyway, she thinks it was her idiot boyfriend. Meanwhile, the cops keep investigating the dead guy's case and find a bunch of voodoo stuff against the protagonist. And there we also learn that Frederico wanted something more, but she just wanted to be her friend, because she has some kind of curse and all the men she was with were crazy about her. But they are not only men, because the sofa's also obsessed, and when it's left alone in the apartment with her boyfriend, he tries to kill him. In the end, I don't know how he survives, and he goes to live at his mother's place, who lives a couple of blocks away, but the sofa appears through the window to finish the job. And as we watch the recliner feed on TJ's soul, the YouTuber looking like a Ponzi scheme scammer explains that a Dybbuk must feed on the souls of its victims to get stronger, and a lot more nonsense explanations. The important thing, or, well, it's not very important because it's the plot of Killer Sofa, but at one point the old man named Jack tries to remember what he saw when he touched the couch, and there he sees a girl commit suicide. So I guess it counts as another kill. And I don't know how he comes to the conclusion that the woman poisoned someone or something. I don't know. The point is that now they have to find the recliner. Meanwhile, Francesca keeps having nightmares about the recliner until she wakes up and starts hearing strange noises until suddenly... So after this, she calls her friend. Maxie makes the two of them go upstairs, and there they find the sofa, which now doesn't move. So they decide to go to sleep at Maxie's while the recliner is watching them through the window. The next day, TJ's mother goes to clean his room when she finds his dead body. One of the cops calls Francesca to go to the police station urgently, and on the way she meets Ralph, who apparently is another boyfriend she had who's obsessed with marrying her. And when Francesca leaves, the guy breaks into her house. Meanwhile, Francesca finds out about her boyfriend's death, and the detective gives her a list of suspects, and she marks Ralph as the possible killer. But by this point, Ralph has already gotten into the house. He goes into her room and starts doing things I can't tell you about in Francesca's bed. But don't worry, because the hero of this movie is gonna show up.
Francesca!
Meanwhile, Francesca's gonna stay at Maxie's house, but she has to go see her grandfather. Oh, because I didn't tell you, but that old guy Jack is Maxie's grandfather. Anyway, this doesn't matter much. What does matter is that he tells her that her friend is in great danger because the recliner she bought is possessed. So Maxie goes to look for the sofa, but there she finds Ralph's corpse. But she doesn't see only that. She also sees how the recliner tries to hide Ralph's dead body. Yes, what you're seeing is real. A couch hiding a corpse.
That's incredible.
And on top of that, it hears Maxie and starts chasing her, so she has to hide in the bathroom. In the end, Maxie manages to jump out of the window, but because of the impact, she passes out inside one of the garbage cans. Oh, and this is great. At one point, the sofa communicates through the drain with our protagonist, saying Valerie's name. And look how badly the investigator's acting.
Sorry. Door was open. We just wanted to make sure you're okay. You okay?
He has no expressions on his face. At one point, they all go to look for Maxie, but she doesn't answer the phone, and the one they do manage to find is Ralph's corpse. But after that, the sofa wants to get closer to her again, so she ends up leaving the hell out of there. At one point, Maxie's grandfather calls Francesca and tells her that they need to talk. Then neither of them knows what happened with Maxie, but they don't really care because they start talking about that voice she hears calling Valerie. And there they discover that it's Valerie and Gerard Colette. They were a French couple who lived in Akaroa in the 1800s, and they practiced witchcraft. Gerard and Valerie were demonic soul eaters, and they used some highly toxic to poison their victims. They were found out and chased by a mob. Gerard was killed, but Valerie committed suicide in front of Francesca's grandmother named Marie. And both Valerie and Gerard had the power to ignite obsessive devotion from whoever crossed their path.
That's exactly what happens to me.
And I don't know how they come to this conclusion, but apparently Valerie's inside of her and Gerard is inside the couch. So the plan consists in building 2 boxes, then put the Dybbuks into the boxes, and finally burn them. And if this movie was missing anything, it's that the investigator acting badly also falls in love with Francesca. And on top of that, his co-worker is in love with him. At one point, she has another dream again where the couch smokes? I don't know. The movie's about a killer couch, so don't expect me to understand much either. Anyway, nothing happens because she wakes up from the dream, and this scene is kind of like a comedy because the old man is dying, and instead of reaching for the pills, she runs out and the wife calls the ambulance.
It's an emergency. I need an ambulance.
I don't know. It's weird. At one point, Warren shows up, a veterinarian who tells him that Frederico wanted him to cut him into pieces, so he did that but without killing him. While the other detectives go to Ralph's room, where she sees the recordings of Francesca's house, because apparently he was spying on her, and there they see that the sofa moves by itself. Meanwhile, the protagonist tries to get the sofa demon into the box, but obviously it won't go in.
Please, just get into the box.
I wouldn't expect that at all.
So she tries to set it on fire. And instead of throwing the match on it or something, she starts fighting against the recliner, which now has the shape of a human, while we learn that the vet cut its legs off so it can fit in the recliner. And now the detective shows up to put an end to this once and for all. After that, she goes to the bathroom to take some pills, but this appears that must be Valerie and enters Francesca'S body. And after that, the protagonist comes out of the bathroom as if nothing happened. Oh, and remember Maxie?
Yes!
Yeah, well, she's alive. She was just passed out in a garbage can, while absolutely no one ever bothered to look for her. Then they explained to her that Frederico was inside the recliner, and it seems that everything is over. But in the evening, she invites the detective for a rather strange tea, and on top of that, the other detective gets a call from the coroner who tells her that Frederico's body didn't die 2 days ago, but 2 weeks ago. And then Francesca kills the inspector with the tea that was actually the poison of the story. And the demon, or whatever this is, feeds on him, and apparently the inspector's body is now handled by that Gerald guy that I mentioned before. And the one who also dies is the policewoman. And the two of them leave super happy, while Maxie sees everything and doesn't understand shit. And finally, she calls the police while she sees Francesca's soul inside the killer sofa. So that was Killer Sofa, with a total of 6 kills. Comment which series or movies you'd like me to summarize and make a kill count for in future videos. See you later.
Go to work.
Okay. Bye.